And want to wish our women's soccer team good luck in the tournament here, in their game at home. Maybe we land and I'll be able to chance to catch the end of that game, but pulling for them. Listen, found a way to win, and that's what we talked about, finding ways to finish, and no matter what it looks like. And there are a lot of mistakes that were made, absolutely, but no one can ever question the hearts of the young men in that locker room, the way they battle, the way they continue to fight, and finding a way. And look, there's no such thing as an ugly win. Are there mistakes? Sure. Even when you win by 30 points, there's things that get cleaned up. Going to overtime, I don't like to compare teams from last year to this, but last year we didn't find ways to win football games. And this year, the guys are continuing to fight, believe, crawl, scratch, do whatever it takes. And that's all that matters. We're 8-2. We still have a chance to maybe control our own destiny, but it's one game at a time for us. And, I'm just so pleased that the guys do it the right way, week in and week out. And I say it all the time, right? Someone just shared the Tulane score with me. It's really, really hard to win football games in college football, and just finding ways. The guys, credit to them, credit to the staff, things we can get cleaned up. I do want to thank all of our fans that made the trek. Man, it was awesome. We could see a sea of blue out there that made the trek out here to Charlotte. I hope them safe travels back home, and grateful for their support. Got a huge one coming up Saturday morning at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. We're going to need the fans that are packed out because this game is absolutely massive. It's the next one, but we know what's on the line. And excited about cleaning this thing up, getting home healthy and safe, and finding a way to go 1-0 next week.
Ryan, this game had 7 total turnovers. On one end, defense gets those takeaways, on the other, your offense gave up some turnovers. Just how do you evaluate a game like that when it's just that many takeaways and turnovers?
Yeah, look, credit 4 interceptions. It's been a while since I've been a part of a game where our defense got 4 interceptions. In fact, for this first time, usually I can remember exactly what I said. I want to just write them all down to make sure I didn't miss anybody. But for the defense to go out there and get 4 takeaways, it's massive. It gives you a chance to win a football game. Offensively, obviously, the first pass by Seth, I thought, I'll go back. I don't want to make an assumption. I thought it may have been a catchable ball, but either way, they made a play on it and an interception there. Tevin Carter's first pass in there, just maybe a misread and a missed throw. I'll put that on me. Maybe I could have put him in a better situation. And then you go, and then Blake fumbling on the goal line again, inexcusable. I'm done making excuses for the young man. He fumbles way too often on the goal line, and it's put us in situations where we've had to find ways to finish. Blake Watson's a phenomenal young man. I love him, but we've got to find ways to not fumble the ball ever, but much less on the 6-inch line again. And so we'll get that fixed, and that's on me to find ways. But yeah, you turn the ball over 3 times, usually you're going to lose the ball game. But finding a way to get 4 takeaways is huge, and those are things we'll continue to harp on.
Your offense, this is another game where your offense has had some timely drives and scoring that you needed to just. What does that say just about how dialed in they can be at certain times of the game? It's kind of different than last year.
Yeah, exactly right. I think that speaks for the maturation process of the team. You're seeing different guys step up, every week. Sometimes you get to see Anthony Lanphier have his career high in catches. You get to see Demir make some fantastic things. Rock being consistent, Kobe Drake, all those guys. Vernon Doyle, right? A guy that just first downs and touchdowns. And it also speaks volumes about your quarterback when you're finding ways to put together those drives in timely fashion. Seth's a warrior. I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. The first time he really threw was Friday. I wasn't sure, even this morning, was he going to be able to go. He's a tough young man that loves his teammates, and I think that's what wills him to go. He wants to win football. He loves the University of Memphis, and he loves his brothers. And, man, that's special having a quarterback. And so I think, finding ways on those drives. Did we stall out at times on offense? Absolutely. Are those things we can get fixed? Absolutely. And that's why we go back and figure out what we can do better, and we will.
In terms of Seth's performance, when he got injured, went out, it seemed like something changed and he was playing better in the second half. What did you see from him? And obviously, like you could tell he was playing through something, but just for him to kind of flip a switch and get through that, what does that say?
I cannot say enough positive things about Seth Hennigan. His mindset, his approach. I just got done gushing over him, but his willingness to go back out there. I mean, most quarterbacks probably would have said, "I'm done." But he knew what's on. He knows what's on the line, and he wasn't gonna let anything stop him. I mean, he gets hit by a damn train, he'll pop back up and say, "Okay, you guys need me in there, quarterback. Okay, here we go." And he's tough. I never want to put him in harm's way with an injury, but when the young man says I'm good to go and the doctor said he's clear, then if he wants to go back out there, he's done a phenomenal job. And he's a young man that we've stuck with since his true freshman year, and now it's great that it's paying for fruition in the win column for him.
And then defensively, I mean, they had a running back who rushed for 180 yards, and obviously had one career carry coming into the game. I don't know if that was somebody that you were for, but what was the problem with the running defense?
Yeah, we didn't. We weren't doing a good enough job. We'd obviously a few explosive runs where they snuck through, and then we had some missed tackles. And when you have the safety come down and a safety misses a tackle, that's where an explosive comes. We got to do a better job up front. I was finding ways to get off blocks and tackle them. Obviously they lined up in what I call 13 personnel with one back and 3 tight ends quite often, and we got to do a better job fitting the run and tackling, and we will. But the run defense, we knew we had to stop the run to win this game. It was one of our keys to victory, and we didn't do a good enough job. And, they obviously sustained some good drives because of the run game. Obviously, they had a couple explosive passes. We did make them pay on some of those passes, and that's okay. We can live by that. But we've got to find a way to dig in and be better versus the run.
When you're down late in the game, we've obviously had this conversation before. It's happened other times this season where you have to come from behind in the fourth quarter. Does that get easier because you guys are like the game before and you won?
I don't know if it gets easier. I think that ulcer in my stomach just grows, and that cardiologist bill is going to be a little bit higher for me in the offseason. But no, here's the deal. We've been through it. We put ourselves through those paces. In training camp, we put ourselves through those in practice, talking about situational football. The guys believe. Sometimes you say, man, it'd be nice to be able to stop having to do those things. But finding a way, and that's key to come up clutch when you need to be. And you look over, there's no panic by offense. Defense comes out and says, "Oh, we got you, coach. We'll be good." The kicker turns to you, "I got you." The offense, we're fine. And that's that confidence, that not arrogance, that confidence, understanding, and the belief to go out there and accomplish it. That's a hard thing to gain by 18 to 23-year-olds, and I think our guys in our locker room at least understand. And post game, every single one of them to a T, starting with me, said, "What do we need to do to get better?" And that mindset and that approach will lead them to long-term success, and hopefully continue to find ways to win football games.
One play that make it lost in the craziness is that Sutton Smith return. I mean, how big was that in putting you guys in that position?
Huge. What an opportune moment for him to get out there and bounce it out there himself. Great job by the rest of the people. But he did a phenomenal job of getting the ball, that plus territory. He was close. I think nobody wanted to score worse than him. We know how explosive he is, and it's so pleasing to see him be a weapon in the return game, and he certainly is. And Sutton's a young man. I know he wants more touches and carries on the offense, and we believe wholeheartedly in him and how wonderful of a talent he is. And man, when he came racing out of that pile on the kickoff return, I was like, here we go. But we know what a tremendous young man he is, and he's going to continue to prepare. And he loves to be that threat, and I'm so glad. What a fantastic timing on that return, which was much needed, kind of got us sparked a little bit.
And then on in situational football on the kickoff, what goes through your mind when you're trying to decide whether to do like a straight kickoff or a squib?
Yeah, I knew that question was coming. Our kickoffs today were awful. Very disappointing by our kickoff coverage team. We have a kickoff specialist that needs to do a better job. I'll call it what it is. There's times where our kickoff team, especially early in the season, looks wonderful. Now, he's also coming off an injury, so I'm not going to berate him or anybody on that unit, but it's got to be better. And we kicked one out of bounds. We tried a sky kick that they got a return on. We tried a variety of different things, and our kickoff unit is not good enough. It's good enough to get us beat. And it's very, very, very disappointing. You can sense my frustration. So with that type of game in the left, you squib it and you hope you can cover down because we weren't doing what we needed to on that unit, right? If we kicked off, they'd been getting the ball back to the 40 anyways. And we kicked it out of bounds, no time off. We squibbed it, and obviously we didn't do a good job covering. It didn't get through. They did a nice job recovering. Thank goodness we found a way, to get that stop on defense. But we talked about it. That's a unit that's has to improve. Or we'll just onside kick it every time and just figure things out.
What's going through your head when Tanner's going out for that field goal game?
Great confidence in him. Tanner's stepped up in such a tremendous manner. And even, when he missed that one earlier, Tanner is so calm, cool, and collected. And, in fact, every game, since he's been our kicker, he comes up to me before a game. He's like, man, Coach, how lucky is this? How beautiful is today that we get to go out there and play football? And that confidence by a kicker that going into the season, probably third string, it's heartwarming. And everybody has so much confidence in Tanner and what he's able to do. And just, please, he gets all the credit in the world. Because what happens for kickers, and no one ever asked me to kick a football, but I'm sure it's hard when you miss one to, oh my gosh, in my head, to have that, the toughness, the mental fortitude to go out there and say, let's go, put the game on the line, here we go. And to go drill it and give us the opportunity to go to overtime. It's pleasing. Knowing him, he was probably, hey, why don't we just take 3 knees and kick the ball in overtime and go home? But what a tremendous job he's done all season, and he's going to continue to prove for the rest of the year.
And then a couple of guys that went down during the game, obviously first off to year, that looked like a scary play.
Yeah, so I don't want to give a medical report because I'm not really sure. I will say this about Demir. He was sitting upright and had what we believe to be all his for lack of a better term, all his feelings and his digits, and he seemed to be alert and okay. I think I'm not going to sit here and diagnose what it is, but he will be traveling back with us, and he's here in the locker room with us and was evaluated, and they feel comfortable with him traveling back with us.
And then just on the offensive line side, a different offensive line today, Matt Conley wasn't out there, Campbell Sullivan out there. Was that an injury for him? And how did that
Yeah, Mac Pounders wasn't able to go today, so we had to shuffle the O-line. Look, you see a guy like Mitch Gilhouse get his first start. And we know going into this game how tough Charlotte's defense was. They've got some dudes up front that, man, I knew going in. I mean, I was like, their D-line looks like Missouri's, and the way they play, and there's a reason why they've had a very good defense. So credit to those guys. You talk about a guy, Mitchell Gilhouse, we've heard his name here or there, but never to go in and get the start at. He's been our backup center in practices and go get the start at left guard. Hey, wake up. Congratulations, bud. You're going at left guard. Okay. And just proud of him. Was it always pretty? No. Xavier Hill getting his first start. Remember, Xavier Hill started the season at right tackle for us and then was at left guard. And then, hey, by the way, go out there and move to left tackle versus one of the better DNs we've seen all season. So credit to him. Those guys, the communication by those guys up front was always pretty But, man, finding a way up front and piecing it together, I was pleased with them.
Your linebackers, Chandler and Jeff, both had some massive plays for you. Just what did you think about their play and how they kind of came together?
Man, both of them had huge picks. Obviously, both at great times. Chandler's pick 6. He continues to play at an all-conference level. Just so pleased with him. Jeff Canton has emerged as one of our leaders of this team. His passion, his heart, you can see it put out on display. What a huge play. Now, I wish he didn't fumble the ball, so we're going to work on ball security with him tomorrow. But, man, it's fun to watch those guys go out and make plays. We need them to continue to step up in the run game, but anytime you have the opportunity to go out there and at linebacker and get interceptions, it's great. We actually had another one, it was right in and out of our hands. So we need to start catching all those balls that are thrown to us.
When kind of some of these last couple of games there's been a lot going on, but when you zoom out, you won 4 games in a row, and you're right in the thick of this conference title race. Just thinking back to your expectations beginning of the season, now you're here. What does that feel?
You don't think about it, right? It's you get so caught up in every single week, and I mentioned this in the press conference, Jonah. Now more than ever in college football, every week feels like its own season. So, like, you told me 1-4 in a row, I'd have no idea. And that you say, how aloof is that for a head coach? Because literally all you do is put your head down and grind. And there are different ways. And, man, there has been a lot going on. We're just, at least people are reading y'all's articles because the games are entertaining and interesting. So just doing that for you guys. No, it's you find ways and you look up, and that's why I tell our guys, given what happens in college football, just freaking put our head down. Let's put our blinders on, come out swinging, no matter what it looks like, and we'll look up at the end of the game and we'll look at the scoreboard. No different every game, right? Every week, when the regular season's done, we'll look up and see where we're at. We're giving ourselves the opportunity to play meaningful football in November, and that's huge. Because reality of it is 40%, maybe 50% of teams, their games are meaningless in November. And for us, we're going out there and finding ways to swing away and just proud of the guys. Every team we play is going to be difficult. We know the challenges we have looking ahead to SMU, and what an exciting opportunity for us to be able to continue to play meaningful football and what may be on the line then.